Hi guys, welcome to Money by Sunny. In this video, we'll be talking about the FIRE movement, which stands for Financial Independence Retire Early. We'll see what it's really about and how it got started, why people do it, and then round things off with a brief description on how you can get started on your own FIRE journey. To kick things off, let's take a closer look at the term financial independence. Financial independence is an approach to managing one's personal finances that has become popular in recent years. Along with retire early, these two terms have been popping up more and more in modern-day vernacular, but not a lot of people know what they actually mean. In a nutshell, it refers to a way for people to live their lives on their own terms, without being tied down by a 9-to-5 day job. What does financial independence retire early mean? What does it actually mean to be FIRE? There are many different definitions of financial independence that are used, but the general idea is that it's when someone has enough money in savings, investments, and retirement funds that they no longer have to work for money. It's a lifestyle that enables people to take time to do the things they enjoy rather than continuing to work until they are too old or too sick to enjoy their retirement. Instead, they are able to live off passive income that will be generated without requiring much or any of their physical presence or attention. The general rule of thumb is to have about 30 times your yearly expenses or $1 million before you can retire early and start living the FIRE life. For some, this means that they are able to cover basic needs with passive income that doesn't require their physical presence. For others, it simply means that they have been able to reduce their expenses, such that they can live comfortably on less than they earn. The idea is to accumulate enough cash and cash-generating assets so that you can take care of the basics of life and then spend your precious time and energy on activities you enjoy for the rest of your life. Financial independence versus financial wealth. Another interesting point about the FIRE movement is that it is focused on the idea of achieving financial independence, which can be different than financial wealth. Financial wealth is simply having millions of dollars, or even more. Financial independence has an important distinction in that it is about having enough money to cover your expenses for a number of years without having to work for a living, even if you may not be traditionally wealthy. How did the FIRE movement start? Published in 1992, the book Your Money or Your Life is credited with popularizing the idea of taking time off to enjoy your life. The authors Vicki Robin and Joe Dominguez were both champions of achieving financial independence early and laid out a 9-step method for achieving this. The book was popularized by media personalities, as well as prominent money blogger Mr. Money Mustache. What is the motivation for the FIRE movement? Many people in the FIRE movement are tired of the rat race, which is the idea that people need to work harder and longer to earn more money to sustain their lifestyles. It's also common to see people in the FIRE movement who are passionate about living a simpler lifestyle, which is associated with having fewer possessions. It's therefore not a surprise to know that frugality and minimalism are two principles that are closely related. Many people have in fact chosen to live frugal and minimalist lifestyles to help them get closer to FIRE. In terms of what people spend their time on, once they achieve early retirement, this could be things that are travel, volunteer, or nonprofit in nature. Many people also take the opportunity to learn skills or languages that they didn't have time to pursue when they were still holding their day job. Of course, it's also possible to continue working a traditional, but hopefully more enjoyable, income-generating job. It's entirely up to the person. The common thread here is that people don't become idle or do nothing once they have achieved early retirement. They just spend their time doing what they actually like, rather than what they were forced to. How do you get started with your own FIRE plan? Just like any other part of life, there are many different approaches to achieving financial independence and a sustainable early retirement. Preparing for FIRE is very personal and subjective to each unique person, but the journey starts with setting the vision for how you want your life to look like in the future. It's important to start by thinking about these two questions. Number 1, what are your goals and what type of life do you want to live? And number 2, how much money do you need to sustain it? Once you have clear answers to these two questions, you can start calculating when you will be able to achieve that required money or income level. This could be 7 years, 10 years, or another time frame, as it will vary widely from person to person, according to their answers to questions number 1 and number 2. Then, it's time to get to work on building that savings and investment pot. Let's go through a few key steps to get you started. Step 1. Develop a budget. A budget is vital for getting control of your expenses. It will give you a clear picture of how your money is being spent every month, which will tell you a couple of important things. A. What your existing expenses are every month, and B. Where and how much you can trim your expenses. This will help ensure that your monthly spending is done in a controlled way and also helps you plan how much you can put away for savings and/or investments. For more details, I've linked a couple of playlists in the description that talk more about the various budget types out there, as well as how to reduce your monthly expenses, so do check them out. Step 2. Develop a savings plan. The backbone of an effective savings journey is a well-structured savings plan. Implementing a savings plan can seem daunting if you've never had one before, but it begins with making a series of small-scale changes and disciplining yourself to put away a portion of your income, no matter how small. One of the easiest ways to get started with a savings plan is to build a habit of setting aside a small amount of money, such as $2 a day, $10 a week, or $100 a month. The greater the amount you commit to put aside, the faster your savings account will grow. For example, if you put aside $2 a day, you'll have $730 in a year, not including any compounding interest that you would have earned on this amount. Another way to increase your savings is to make extra payments on any high-interest debt you have, which helps pay off your loan more quickly and free up that cash. Step 3. Invest regularly. In addition to putting money aside for savings regularly, it's important to invest a decent chunk of that money on a regular basis as well. Savings accounts are a good, safe haven for your cash and is important for things like an emergency fund to cover unexpected events. However, in order to achieve financial independence in the quickest possible time, investing in assets such as stocks or bonds or other asset classes are essential. This will help you grow your retirement nest egg more effectively, rather than relying solely on what you put into it. A good strategy that many people utilize is to invest in ETFs, which stands for exchange-traded funds. ETFs are bundles of assets, such as stocks and bonds, and can be indexed or designed to track particular types of investments. They are typically low cost, with much lower management fees as compared to regular mutual funds or unit trusts. These 3 steps aren't necessarily something that you need to follow in chronological order, however. For example, developing a monthly budget and developing a savings plan are closely related to one another, and you could even do both steps together. Think of this as more of a rough guide as to what's required to get going on this process. There you have it. I hope this video was useful in explaining the FIRE concept, and I'm sure it can help set you on the path of your very own FIRE journey. If you like this video, please do subscribe and leave us a comment. See you next time on Money by Sunny.